Welcome, bitches. This is the With Love Nic podcast. There is nothing off limits here. Oh, get on your power panties. Success happens on the other side of conventional thinking. I say this all the time because when I was conventionally thinking, it left me burnt out and drunk. Welcome to this week's episode of the With Love Nic podcast. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back after 87 years of me not being on the podcast and several reschedules for good reason. But I am here with Nadine and I am so excited to be back. I feel like I haven't talked forever on the podcast. I feel like there's like so many transmissions and everything that I want to share that I've been sharing in my private community on Telegram, but I've been wanting to come back here, but it had to be the perfect moment. So please forgive me and just take this episode as my gift to you moving forward. I would love to introduce Nadine, and I would also love her to come forward and just tell us what you do. Tell us what you're all about in your voice. I want to hear it all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, Nic. And I just absolutely love that I am the one that you're brought on after 87 years, was it, of a bit of a break with your potty. And thank you so very much for having me. I've already got full body goosebumps because I know what this conversation is going to get to be for not just yourself and I, all those listening as well. So for those of you listening here, whether it's very soon or well down the track, I want to first of all thank you for showing up to this episode and taking the time to listen in. My name is Nadine Muller. As you can tell, I have got an Australian accent, a very ochre Australian accent. So I am across in the land down under, and in fact, as I am on this episode right now with the incredible Nic, I am right in the outback of Australia as well. So it's just a beautiful place in terms of Mother Earth, ground, energy, all of the elements, all of the alchemy of what this world gets to be. So with who I am, what I do, there are so many arms and legs to me. Yes, on the face, if you were to look at what I do on a social media platform, I do life strategy. Yes, I do business mentoring. However, so much deeper than that, we bring women and men and couples and family back home. I like to say that our work is the greatest of rememberings. And what we do from a place of transcending, again, those very individuals home to themselves and remembering who they really are at the core is really the byproduct of then the life and the business that they get to lead, right? That is merely all of the success that happens on the other side is the bigness of the excavations of what happens at them at a cellular level. And beyond that, not just in this lifetime, lifetimes before, and indeed lifetimes that they get to have forevermore after this one. So that is the quickest, most the way that I can explain it in an intro. I have the pleasure of working alongside my incredible life accomplice, so my husband Dane, and he brings the masculine to our work and beautifully also supports right alongside me to in the couple space and for our men. And I truly believe for the masculine that work is required more than ever. And again, as a powerhouse couple and as two people that have truly transcended and traversed so much in this lifetime for ourselves, it is no wonder why we're here now doing this great work.
It's so interesting when I ask other people to tell me what they do, because when people tell me to tell them what I do, it's like, do you have a couple hours? Because it's like, the work that we have the privilege of doing is so much bigger than just like a tangible or something that we can explain in a couple of minutes, right? There are still times where people ask me what I do for a living and I'm like tongue-tied. It's like, I don't really know how to fucking explain it to you. But here's the thing is like, sometimes the vision is so big that I even have to hone in on something specific for a little bit because the vision gets so big and there's so much room for me to elevate, so much room for me to expand. And wow, on you having the support of your partner, and not only the support, but the actual partnership of doing this work with you. There was a specific question that I wanted to open this up with, but I actually want to know what it's like to work side by side with your husband in this work. That is so interesting to me because, transparent enough, I have often wondered, like, what would it be like if Mason like did this work with me? No way, shape, or form would he's a works in the trades. He's a journeyman electrician. So it's like my work, he like still doesn't understand what I do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes I wonder like, what would that be like? So I would love to hear like what is it like? And when you met each other, were you in the same realm of work or was it kind of one or the other?
It's such a we get this question all the time actually, because um even with what you just said, Dane was a tradesman before. He was a builder, he was a carpenter, living a very different life to the one we're living now. And me too. And I invite anyone that's listening to this right now, consider your path before now. Like before now, I was an emergency registered nurse. Before now, I was in the military for 14 years. Before now, I've had many a lifetime before the one that I'm currently on. And it's so interesting how paths beautifully go down all of these incredible gates, if you will, to arrive you exactly where you're meant to be. And, despite the journey that Dane was on, despite the journey that I was on, they were actually all leading us to here eventually. And there were so many things, and it answers this question as a preliminary. There were so many things that actually happened whilst we were in another lifetime of ours, in other jobs and careers and what we were doing, um, that the universe kind of went, hey, we're going to give you this, we're going to gift you this, we're going to gift you this, and all of it actually put us into alignment. So back then, so we've been together for over a decade now. Back then, that was the life we were living. We were the everyday 9 to 5. Well, it was hardly 9 to 5. He was working basically 7 days a week in his business. I was working in the emergency departments, working in the military full time. I just had a lot of things going on. And we can probably, warrant that we all know someone that is doing a million things at an hour at a pace of just crazy, right? Both of us ended up really in spaces and places where we were leaving ourselves behind. We were taking care of family, we were taking care of colleagues, businesses, whatever, and then careers, that we really left ourselves behind. So it was actually this invitation, if you will, with some life collisions, which then we called life fucks, okay, that I now look back on and go, thank God they all happened. And it was a time where we divided in marriage, in ways of parenting, in so many different ways, where we really wouldn't be here if we didn't decide some big things like, right, are we willing and are we brave enough, and do we have the courage to leave every single thing that we know behind to
Mhm.
start anew? And to really, again, to really fast track this, we went from doing what we were doing to going on the biggest personal, which ended up then a professional advancement, a personal discovery of who are we beyond our labels, who are we beyond us as parents, who are we? And that start was actually the beginning of us remembering who we were, and remembering the gifts and talents and wisdoms and what we were actually here to do. And it's so interesting because we could have gone so many different other ways. Even now, that's why couples work is so big for us. Even as a couple, we've traversed so much, and it's so, one decision could have altered the entire course of our lifetime. And this very, empire that we have of shifting and supporting so many, men and women and couples is as a result of us just choosing a new decision, having a new pathway. So whilst it's difficult at times, because we are in each other's pockets all the time, the parts that are actually really simple is, this is not what we do, it's who we be, right? We don't have to go, cool, we've stopped being that person. It is just, we are that always. So we don't have to go, okay, no more coaching, mentoring, or leading, or guiding, or creating magic. It's now, all we have to be conscious of is when we switch off and go, okay, no more business stuff or no more life stuff, it's just you and I now. That's the only difference, right? Where it's working alongside each other, it's utilizing the energetics of fem, mask, and us, playing in both of those for both of us.
Yeah.
And then and really, he's totally different from me, Nic. I don't know if you've seen what he do. He's so, we are polar opposites, and it just works from a magnetizing point of view, from a
Mm.
energetics point of view, how we lead ourselves and then how we lead one another, and then how it actually is the beautiful jigsaw that allows, what we have here is truly remarkable. And it doesn't work for everyone. We work with so many people that, in their businesses or in their empires, it can cause some really big frictions. For us, the more and more we're actually on the same team and unite,
Yeah.
it is actually where the magic happens here.
I love that. I love that so much. And I resonate with the polar opposites, but it working. I resonate with
Yes.
that because my husband and I operate like that as well. But there's
Mm.
balance in that. There's balance in that. And also, I want to touch on this really quick because we are talking about like the masculine and feminine energetics. I always, before I met my husband and even into our marriage, I'm just gonna admit it,
Yeah.
I operated always from a very masculine energy,
Yes.
always in my masculine, always feeling like I needed to have control of things, always, even things outside of me. And so now I feel like I can submit to him a little bit more and tap into
Yes.
the feminine, where before it was always like, I have to have it this way. It needs to look this way. And now it's just like, take me,
Yes.
you know,
Take
you
a
know,
lead.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And as I feel into that more and being in the industry that I'm in and making, bringing in the income that I bring in, it's like I'm learning even more how to submit to him as a wife so that he
Yes.
can remain in his masculine and not feel, not be overtaken by my masculine energy. So I find that just so interesting and validating that you
Yes.
are polar opposites and just operate at such a high frequency that way. And I would love to know, like, what does parenting look like? Because you
Yeah.
have two sons, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what does this look like between you and your husband being mentors and working with other couples and then having them tagging along and parenting
Yeah.
while all of that's going on? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I really love this question because we have two beautiful young boys. We're very, even our dog. I'm the only woman in this entire
Even our
situation.
dog.
Like even everything around us seems to be masculine, and similar to you, I also come from the old rhetoric and the old pattern of just continuing to stay, a past version of me where masculine energy was me through and through. Like if I was feminine, it was for a quick moment, it was to tick the box, and then it was the doing energy of the and again, I'm the both is so vital. It's so important. I still continue to love masculine. However, the feminine is absolutely required, and I've loved coming back to it. And the when Dane actually, the reason why we've also come together is he taught me that, as in he was the one that reminded me to go, hey, you don't have to have control. So similar to your partner, to submit to this whole, you know what, you can be held right in your feminine, you can be led
Mm,
in your feminine. So that first of all has been a really big thing for me, because I also realize in raising our boys, that I also, a past version of me, if I was to say, would you be happy with the version that your future children, if they choose to marry women, um, were to marry the version that you are? And this is the version of me back in the day that was all in a masculine, and never truly, allowed the frequency of the feminine to stay, and all the surrender and the flow and the creation to be there. And I remember hand on my heart going, no, I actually, am I being the version of the feminine or the flow and the divine feminine masculine that I would want my boys to marry? So you
mm,
can bet your bottom dollar that whilst I, or to choose to, be a life accomplice with, or for their model of what the feminine and the masculine gets to be like in the dominance of the woman, right? And so I remember way back then when I had boys, and I actually firmly believe that is the reason why I've been gifted with little boys to raise, because it is actually a further invitation for me to divinely show them, model to them the feminine and the masculine. And so at home, yes, it's two things. They see the part of me that is, again, with the income that we bring in, the success of what we see success to be, the freedom, the empire that they see, the work that we do, they see us we're often showing our kids, our things on retreat where it's super potent, super powerful. We're showing them that magic, and then they see the part of me that is being led by their father, the part of me that is soft and the nurture and again, the mother. They've seen the maiden, they've seen, do you know what I mean? I just, again,
Yeah.
what is really important in raising these boys, and why I believe I've been gifted boys to raise, is to ensure and to continue to show the future masculine through the generational work, that in order to be in the divine of both, we have to showcase and be able to have that behavioral flexibility of both. So they see it in any one given day. They will see their mum and their dad go between being in their feminine, being in their masculine. Both of us. My husband is incredible in his light feminine. He's incredible in his dark masculine. The range is incredible, and our boys see that. So,
Yeah.
there's times in our business that they see me take charge and me lead, right? And then conversely, they see me beautifully surrender and be led. And I think it's really important in raising boys.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I feel like it's important too, as a mom, to be able to tap into both and learn how to leverage both and learn how to
Mm-hmm.
operate, learn at the proper times to operate in each. I have one boy and three girls. It's like all girls here, basically. A lot
The
of feminine
opposite.
energy. Yeah. And so I just feel like in raising girls, it's important for them to see me operate in both as well. And for the longest
Absolutely.
time, it was so hard for me to tap out of my masculine, and it still is. It's still a learning process for me. It's still a learning curve for me. Um, but I would love to know, because you have a military background, what are the things that you have practiced and the hardest part of the practice to really start tapping back into your feminine, because that had to have been not easy. That had to have not go smooth, right? Like, so what are some things that you did to really master that? Because I know my audience wants to know. I attract a lot of generators and Manny Gens and a lot of people who operate from a we need to be going all the fucking time. So it's, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, look, I will be the first one to say that it ain't right. Like, let us not make that wrong. Let us remember the incredible the what can be created from a place of that drive, and
Yeah.
the momentum that can happen from that place. And you've said, and we'll keep on saying it, it's being able to flow in both is
Mhm.
where the magic lies, right? And where that the story, the rhetoric, the hey, in order to have what I want to have, it has to be with effort, with muscle, with huge hours and sacrifice. That story I had absolutely in the past, and I will be the first one to say that sometimes that likes to come up, right?
Yeah.
Even if we think from a military point of view, sacrifice, ultimate sacrifice, work hard, give, like, long hours, time away. Like, when I even think about that in its core, and I come from a long lineage of military personnel in our family, so it's embedded in our blood, like it's in
Yeah.
our veins, right?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, to undo that story was first even just like, aside from the going from, I firmly believe that when we sit in that masculine, when we have those stories, a lot of it is, and what I've come to know with women is, we actually, as a society, generalized, as a generalized, story, women actually don't actually know what the feminine is, right? And what I mean by that, one, what it is at its core, and two, there's almost a, well, it is a trust of self to be in the feminine, because the feminine is the surrender, the feminine is the deep knowing,
Mhm.
the feminine, right? And everyone, we know that, and yet when we go, do we actually know that? That is two things. It's going from a knowing to an actual integration of that. So for a long time, whilst I knew, yep, I know I've got to be my feminine, I'm in this doing masculine, I had all this evidence of the masculine working though. So you have to, and this is for everyone, in order to make sense of the feminine being so powerful as it is, we have to create evidence that it is, and that we have outcomes and results where being in the feminine has created something new for you. So for me, it was undoing the story to begin with, b, realizing, okay, I can see how that has resulted in the evidence of all of this. However, what has it also resulted in? And what I knew that it resulted in was someone that could never actually rest,
Mm,
could felt like she could never truly depend on anyone else except for herself. She
yeah.
had this story of no one's going to do it like me. She had this story in the past of um, it won't be at the standard of me. It won't be like all these things that it won't be. And all that was a lack of trust fully within self to be there long enough to create the evidence that it is.
You're
And
mirroring
then
so much back to me. Like, I'm like, check, check, check.
right, and here's the thing, because we work with women like day in day out. This is everyone from people at the start of their journey to high fucking performers. In fact high performers are that is the golden ticket. That's the award right there. Now, going back to what I just said though, Nic, let us remember it ain't wrong. However,
Yeah.
let us continue a new story, because what can happen in a personal, the person, right, that leader, that woman, that powerhouse, that person at her core, right, what can happen when she discovers the other side? Well, put it this way, like, if you, for those listening, if you've got a really incredible expansive business empire, however it is for you, companies, multi things, whatever you've got going on, and you've operated only from your masculine so far in terms of it's the depth of it, just you wait. And in fact, I'm so excited for what you create when you have the other as well. Because when you have the other, it will well, we know it. That's the time collapse. That's the quantum leap. That ability and that trust, and then building evidence on the other side. You then have not only one area to play in, as in the masculine energy, when you then have the whole other energy of your feminine, you will literally, like, it is, I call it actually the catapult, and I call it it's a slingshot, right? So you've got to be willing to pull back. You've got to be willing to have that trust. You've got to be in that full, you know what, I'm going to go all in on this. And how about the invitation of going all in, like you have with the masculine, however, going all in the feminine. And I wonder what happens if you were to let that slingshot go. And I'm telling you, that initial pullback will be the fastest, like fast track to everything you desire on the other side of it. And all it is evidence building and evidence stacking. Like,
That gave me full
please
body
let that land.
chills. Like, that was
Yeah.
the best way to explain that. Like,
With the slingshot, and then the
yes.
go all in like you
Well,
have with the masculine.
with the pullback, because it's like that pullback is getting to the edge. And then when we finally get to the edge and we trust ourselves enough to dive off of the edge and realize
Oh,
we get to the bottom and we just get to put our feet down and be, it's like the
oh,
best feeling in the world, right? And one of the things that you said that really resonated with me, and I know will probably trigger a new thought process for some of my audience, is like when you said that tapping into your feminine is that deep rooted self trust. And
yeah.
it's kind of, it's ironic because a lot of people will come to me thinking that they are too much in their feminine when they don't trust themselves at all. And it's actually operating from the opposite in which they think they're operating from. And so I
Yes.
love that you said that, because it's like, this is it. That's the golden ticket. This is exactly what my audience was meant to hear. And I just think it's so interesting because there is that misconception that it's the opposite, of that. So the question that I wanted to lead with, though,
Yeah.
is let's talk about you breaking the wood and that primal scream and the afterwards. Like, I want to talk
Yeah.
about what it
Yeah. Let
felt
us talk
like.
about
I want to talk
it. Yeah.
about what it felt like, what the intention was, what was going through your head, because that I've watched that reel probably 127 times. And every time I watch it, I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like,
First of all, I just want to say this is why I love being in your world and yours, Ifan. We I am that. I will be like 127 times, 87 years. Like we
over exaggerating everything. Yeah.
no, it's
Let's make it
great.
big. If we're going to talk about it, let's make it big.
Yeah. And we map that across. We map that across in life, in business, and who we are. So it's actually a really great way to be. So great question, because when people go, when that happened, we do that actually all the time. However, that particular one that you're speaking into was actually on our men's retreat. So I actually come onto our men's retreat as the feminine, and I lead. Yeah. So people don't know that when they see that video. And a lot of the work that we do, it's so interesting. You know, men's work is men's work, women's work is women's work. We get that couples work is couples work. However, we, again, talking about energetics that we were just speaking into, you can't have one without the other. So you bet your bottom dollar on our women's retreats, we have the beautiful divine masculine joining us. On our men's retreat, not the entire time, however, at a specific junction when they're ready, we then bring on the divine feminine. Okay. So then we come in, out the women and the facilitators that I bring along with me, we're then leading the men through that. Now you can imagine, and everyone knows a man in their life, or someone where they have a feminine wound somewhere, a mother wound, a sister wound, a ex-partner wound, whatever it is, somewhere. And that part of the retreat there and then was literally a meeting, a junction where their feminine and their masculine finally gets to be seen, and then finally gets to be broken through. Now, I'm not even talking about the breakthrough of the board. I'm just speaking into the, we bring energetics, and this world, again, we'd be here for many hours. Nic, this will be our second, third, fourth, interview or podcast episode. So on that retreat, each man, and for the women, we sometimes allow the facilitators do it with us. So we don't always necessarily have every woman do it. However, in that time, we all did. And it is this moment in time where we meet them exactly where they're at. And it's no longer, for some of them, they've had really powerful women that have dominated them, right? And that have taken away, and they've chosen for that to be taken away. However, in some shape, way, or form, as an adult, they've either chosen that to take away, or as little boys, their masculine has been taken away from a really dominant masculine driven woman. Okay. Now, to put it simply, in that moment, they've had so many beautiful processes that has happened during the retreat. And when they arrive to there, it is the meeting of their own divine masculine, divine feminine, and they're breaking through that, so they have both. So it's almost like this incredible meeting of where they go, I am me, this is who I am, I can be in my light, dark, femme, mask, all the things, and I'm ready to start a new junction from this point. Okay, there's a few of it on those retreats, however, that is at that point. Okay, and it is about being witnessed. So it's being witnessed by all the men that were there with you, the feminine that was there with you, and to be witnessed in you claiming back your power. And yes, our men, there are many. This is why we love men's work so much. Arguably, I've got a really soft spot for our men's work so much, because again, even if we were to look at, the mental health of our men, the suicidal rates of our men, like so many things for our men, I know that this work is hugely needs to pick up in this world. And so right there and then, it is that meeting, it is that ability for the man to be fully seen. It is the ability for the men, because then we're going to flip the script for a second, to see and know and fully make sense of the feminine in her power. So that is where I come in to do that bit, so that they can also, so where they have unfortunately in the past, a past version of them, taken, a woman's power away from her, I stand there, like it almost gets me really emotional. I stand there, right, for the man to go, wow, our women are powerful, right? Mm. Our women deserve to be seen in their power. We can allow ourselves to meet them where they're at, and us where they're at. We are equal. No one's taking power from someone else, right? And in that moment, that feeling, so you'll see it in there. I lock eyes to every single man in there, and it's such this beautiful invitation for every man to see through me. So it's almost like when you were to envision it, and if you're on this, watching this, or you go and watch this, I almost want you to see this as a view. I am standing as the woman holding the frame of the beautiful feminine, okay, and of the feminine as a collective, okay, and that allows everything to beautifully dissolve. So they allow themselves to see the feminine, to acknowledge the feminine, to see and dissolve any part of the feminine that may in the past have hurt them or not, or conversely, where they've hurt the feminine, right? Or created a wounding for the feminine. And I'm telling you, that process alone, when they see it, they witness it, and then they do it for themselves, is a somatic release, a somatic invitation that is beyond just breaking that board, because they feel it within their body in a cellular space and we call in a lot of things. So there's many things that are with us in that time, many timelines, many uh, ways in which we're supported and protected in that space. And it is literally collapsing timelines of intergenerational traumas, and then a new paradigm for moving forward for that relationship. So the dynamic that they then have for their partners, friends, sisters, mums, colleagues, each other, right? Because then they've witnessed in that. Now, going back to your question of how it feels, it is a really fucking powerful feeling. One, to be seen by the masculine. I have lived a life where I've been seen by many masculine men. So that's not a thing for me, because obviously in the past military, I was always around men. So it wasn't about not being seen. However, there are and have been, and they continue to be, huge power imbalances, don't they? So it is a meeting of an incredible power shift to an alignment where everyone is equal. Okay. And allowing them to see that in the different energies and to feel it more than actually see it. And then, yes, the men do the same, and it's an invitation for us. So then I get our women, like we're all watching and we're seeing men be the masculine. Now, here's the thing: when men be the masculine, what does that further invite the woman to do and be? They go, oh, I'm safe. I can be in my feminine. That man has charge. That man is going to lead. That man is going to go do the thing. So it actually further, and this is why I absolutely love it, is even in the journey of leading people through this, I'm going to take it back to me. I continue to be beautifully healed on the journey of seeing our men and our women take their power back, seeing our men and our women beautifully step forward, seeing our men and our women beautifully go, you know what, I'm allowed to be in my feminine. I'm also allowed to do in my masculine. Yeah. So it's just it is such a, that's, as you can tell, and you and I have both sort of said this during this, it is difficult in the most magical of ways to even describe the work that you and that we and that the people that are really leading this world right now and are on really beautiful missions, because it is not only one thing. It is so multidimensional. It is so omnidirectional. It is beyond what our current words, it's a feeling, right? And it's not what happens, you know, I say this so much, it's actually not what we do. It's actually not what happens on there. It's what happens in others when we do what we do and show them how to do what we do. Like
100%.
You can't actually put anything on it except for, you know what, just watch what happens when you experience something and then you go and do what you've just experienced. That it's on the other side of that.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with a private client about this today, and it's like she's really wanting to speak to that high caliber human being. She's really ready to just step into that next level. And it's like, stop putting limitations on the work that you do. Because here's the thing, you can have your methodology and your wisdom codes and everything that you are going to help people integrate into their lives. You could do this in front of 10 separate people, and it's all going to do something. It's all going to activate them, which is going to be the catalyst of whatever they go beyond this time to do. And it's all going to be different. So for us to actually promise a specific result is actually disempowering what is available to our client. It's saying, well, this is the only thing that's available to you because this is the result that I will get you. And it's like, no, we're gonna just open it up to any possibility. What do you want to do? Let's fucking go. The rocket ship is leaving.
Yes. And the potentiality is limitless then. We're not saying, hey, at the end of this is here. This is then, hey, here's a new gate. Do you know what's on the other side of this gate? Hey, neither do we, because it's fucking endless. There is no cap to that. So now go and do that. Right.
Well, and then like, yeah. And one of the things that I was saying to her is like, on a physical a level, right? You could have somebody that will hand 10 people a diet pill and they can't
Mm.
say this is going to be specific. You know, one person could die from a heart attack, one person could lose 15 pounds, one person could get pregnant, one person could gain 25 pounds. It's like the opportunities with that little pill are endless. It's like everybody's so different, and the codes that they are integrating from the knowledge that we give them, it's going to be different for everybody. And so it is just coming full circle back to like when somebody asks me what I do, I'm like, well, here's a pen and paper and I'll tell you what's possible when you work with me.
Yes.
But I love that.
Uh, I love this. Yeah, it's if only more people knew that. As in if only more people spoke like that and said, "Hey, it's not, you know, it's not we're not going to cap anything. We're not going
Yeah,
to Beckham beautifully waving. It's not going to, you come with me and you're going to ultimately create the next bit,
absolutely.
right? It's
Yeah.
that you've said it. It will only disempower or stifle people when we do that. Or if people
100%. And so many people wonder why, well, why aren't my clients moving? Why? Because you're not giving them the space to move. You're giving them one result that they can
yes,
achieve, and you're not giving
yes,
them the space to do more, right? And so, yeah, I love this conversation. I love this conversation so much. And I feel like a lot of people do know this. A lot of people do speak about this, but not everybody is open to receiving that knowledge and those words. And
yes,
actually maybe just changing a little bit of what they think about it, right? A lot of people aren't open to hear that because, well, somebody told me that that wouldn't make me successful. And well, I can't not put a tangible on my work or no one's going to buy from me. I'm like, so you're telling me that if you put one result on your big work, more
that
people
will
are going to
bring
buy that over infinite results over your big work? Because that's not really making sense to me.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's
yeah.
wild. Wow. It's even, you know, this can be mapped across in so many different ways, and it's one that, you know, people can either choose to be triggered over it or activated over it. Once people
Yeah.
realize this, it can be the gateway to achieving your next level of success. Even success in itself, it's like, what success to somebody else is completely like, I'll just want to quickly share this. Just recently I walked into, we're in the outback of Australia right now. I literally went into this old school country club, landed in there, and I was met with some old school colleagues from the RAF, so from the Australian Air Force, and that's the service that I was in. And I walked in and went, holy moly, blast from the past, met with some old colleagues. Was speaking to one of them who's a fast jet pilot, and he's living his dream. He is living his absolute dream. Now, again, when I was talking to him, I was like, barely a dream to me. Like, as in, when I was literally just like, you know what? He's out in the middle of nowhere. He's like, I really want to meet a girl. I haven't met. I would really love to, you know, have kids one day. Just, life and my career in the RAF and doing all this stuff is just taking away everything of that. However, I'm loving my job. This is the money I'm making. This is the time free that I have. Da da da. And it was very minimal to me because that's my vision is totally different. Now, again, we didn't really speak into what we were doing here. However, it would mind bend him for starters. And two, I went, who am I to say that he's like that's his success? He's like, he's a fast jet pilot. He wants to do that, and he's been doing that for however long, and that's successful to him. Great,
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. Who are we to judge, right? Whereas for me, I was like, out in the middle of nowhere, so no location freedom. You've got 4 weeks off a year. You're always away. You want to settle down. Like, to me, when I looked at the list, I went, well, that's not success to me. However, that's okay. Let us be okay with that,
Yes.
right? And
100%.
and
Yeah.
and again, who are we? I think that's the main point, and something that I know you drive home and that we drive home. Just go after what it is that you're after, and ultimately put a limit on whatever you want to put a limit on, or don't. Because
Yeah.
as long as you're happy, we're seeing it now more than ever. There's people that have got whatever, and they're absolutely happy about that. And are they? Only they can judge that,
Yeah.
right? Like us, we can judge that. And
Absolutely. And we're all fulfilled in different ways, and we've all come from a different arena of lack of fulfillment too. We all come from a different past. We all come from a different um why. a different why
Correct.
and reasoning for our shift and pivots in our life and things that we wanted to change. So then our fulfillment is going to look different. And I love that because I do feel in our industry, what a beautiful industry, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I'll
Oh,
just say that. But
oh, yeah.
so many people compare what success is supposed to look like, and they
Yes.
put what they actually desire way over here. And it's like, at the end of the day, you're not fucking happy trying to fulfill and manifest somebody else's dream anyways. So like, what are you doing? Leaving your desires to cry and die in the corner? Like, what are we
Yes.
doing? And why are leaders empowering that type of behavior? And that why
Correct.
are leaders continually empowering disempowering people to just borrow power all the time and creating this
Correct.
codependency? It's like I see a lot of people that will be like, well, 6 months and I'll audit your content for 6 months. And it's like, okay, go balls to the wall auditing their content for a month. But then when they come in, empower them to tell you what they love about it and what they don't. Empower them to look within, empower them to actually do some of the work first and then just have your eyes on it. But I feel like so many people are afraid to empower their clients to look within because, well, she paid me to help her. Like, I'm not going to just have her do it by herself. You're a
Mhm.
leader in a mentorship
Yes,
industry. You're
that's the
supposed to
point.
empower your client to tap into what they have available to them, and you can complement that with your knowledge codes. But yeah,
Correct.
I could like go off on a tangent about that.
Same with me. Same with,
Yeah.
like, even with the notion of like, what's the difference between a mentor and a coach? If you're a mentor, then you're not just given all, like, it's not like, hey, go and do.
Yes.
Can we have it like, just let it, even if you were to just not even dive into what mentor means in the dictionary, let us look at what that actually is doing and what you're there to do. If you are labeling yourself, again, everything's a label. However, if you're running a business and one of them, or part of your role is to mentor, then I am going to hope, and this is the work that you're saying, that the industry gets to beautifully sharpen up on,
Yes.
and hopefully move forward in that. Even that alone, we start to get really clear on that role in itself, that, and then the
Absolutely.
beautiful role in coaching, because coaching, mentoring, different. And then can
Absolutely.
you, and do you have that flexibility within your craft and within your expertise and then within your leadership, that you can actually flow between both? Now that is truly something that takes so much incredible self work, so much
Yes.
incredible internal work, that I truly believe cannot be taught. And it's more caught with your evolution of self. We can only flow in
100%.
both when we know both. And that when we've had examples, I think this is really important to bring here. When we've also had examples to almost not go off. So I actually, there's parts of what you just said before I go, yeah, this and it, wow. And then though, it's being able to discern
Yes.
what not to do and what to do, and do that.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you know,
and just do that.
that if you've got a reference point of not, or that doesn't feel like home to you, then you get to choose, you get to, fucking hell, it's like that discernment of the conversations that you're having, the people that you're around, the podcast that you're listening to, what you're sitting in expansion of or lack on. You know, there is so much that comes into play, our internal, our external. There is so much in this, and specifically in context of, you know, those that would be listening to this, that is an invitation for you to go, right, if I was to put a mirror right now, what is the reflection that I'm ultimately putting out, whether it's as a client yourself and or as a mentor, as a leader. It's both.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one of the things that I love that you said, being able to adjust between coaching and mentorship is just, it is a profound skill. And it is one of those
Oh,
skills that's like, emotional intelligence is sharpened through evolution.
oh,
So it's like, that is not, you can't just jump into like an emotional intelligence
of
masterclass.
course.
You know what I mean? It's like, mm, mm. So one of the things that I like to talk to or speak on in my mid to higher level programs, like when it comes to master classes and, people just coming into my world, it's whatever. But I really deepen the knowledge around the difference between coaching and mentorship. So not only Do my clients know how I'm going to show up when they ask me specific questions or need me to hold a level of space for them, but also so they can understand where they are as a leader and where they should be working with their clients. It's like, if you're just starting a coaching business, be a coach, help people sharpen their skills, have, showcase different skill sets. But when you're talking mentorship, are you ready to hold space for people when you can't even fucking hold space for yourself?
Legit,
Like,
like
actually,
actually.
like, who are
It's
you
like
behind the scenes when shit hits the
no
fan?
one's watching.
But then you're
Yes.
over here saying, I can help you when shit hits the fan. And it's like, let's be real. At what level can you hold them? Right? We
Yeah.
all have our demons. We all have the things that we work on behind the scenes. So let's practice leading people to the edge in which we've already been and stop trying to portray our leadership as something that we haven't experienced yet. So many people say, I have so much trouble writing content and speaking to my client. It's like, because you haven't fucking been there yet. You wouldn't have trouble writing your content if you were speaking your truth and stop trying to speak somebody else's.
Yes.
You
And
know?
if yes, and it's like the problem would then be I've got so much to say that, you know what I mean, in content versus what do I actually do? Like
Yeah,
it's just
Instagram's like, you're breaking our policy. You're breaking our posting policy. I'm like, fuck it. That's why I have a
right.
podcast and a Telegram community and 18 masterminds. I just have too much to say, and Instagram doesn't like it.
But like again, for those listening though, like there have been some things here. I'm big on this. You've heard the saying. It's like it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. There's so many things in here that are actually, whether you call them codes or whatever you want to, write them the F down and go, okay, that landed for me. Like
Yep.
again, where are you listening to content, podcasts, in masterminds, in masterclasses, absorbing or taking in all of this content, choosing to sit at
Mm,
tables? Are you sitting there? Or are you taking a seat and doing something with the information that you're
yes.
learning about, and then applying it? And then more than just applying it, then actually integrating and going, I'm going to repeat this over and over. We know that in order to create a new story, in order to create a new pathway, and in so many ways, we need to just repeat that process over and over again until it becomes an unconscious competence. So
Yeah.
you don't even need to think about it anymore. It's just what you do. And in fact, further than that, it is just who
Yes.
you be. It's
It's
just who
just
you
what
are.
you do. Like, it
You're
gets
like,
to be just what you do. I love that you said that. And when it comes to, people hearing things and absorbing new knowledge, if you're triggered by it, figure out why you're triggered by it and close the gap. If you're activated by it, go take action. If you're triggered by it, that's not anybody else's problem but your own. Go close that gap. If you're activated by it, that's your body telling you to get up and go and do something with that.
yes, like mic drop.
Like,
Okay, full.
that's it right there. Full circle. Holy fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
knew
I
this
love
conversation was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good.
it.
I mean,
As you
no,
can
I
tell,
did. I'm lying. Of course I knew.
yeah,
The universe was
you and
like, not today, we're rescheduling. Not today, we're rescheduling. We'll do it today, but we're going to cut you off.
I, literally before this.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In case some people are probably listening to this now, going, do these two like know each other really well, or have been with each other's worlds before, or have met face to face? So here's the thing, guys, and this is what I absolutely love. No, this is the first time that we. Hang on, I will rephrase this. In this current moment, in this world now, this is the first time that Nic and I have actually,
Seen each
converse
other.
outside of Instagram and seen each other in this
Hmm.
way. However, and this is what I mean by when you just start trusting yourself and your intuition, and or places and spaces where you are like, I'm activated by this person, she feels like home, he or she she is someone that I want to be in that person, in whatever capacity, then follow that. Because then now Nic and I I'm like, hey, where are you? I'm heading over to the States. I'm heading over to across the world. At some point, I'm going to see you. Like, I'm heading across to, wherever I'm doing. Like, can you invite yourself to places and spaces right now because you feel called and yearned.
Yeah.
And listen to that, whether it's a voice, a feeling, an activation, and go, I'm just gonna pop in and say hello, because that's essentially how this came about.
Yeah.
And now we're here having really expansive conversations and sharing what we do with those that want to hear that. And it's really potent. I think it's really important to know, even look at your circles right now and go, are the people around me calling me forth like this? There's certain things that both Nic and I have said in this, right, that have been like, I hope it triggers you, or I hope it activates you, whichever one you get to choose, right? There's been some big things when it comes to, feminine energetics and masculine here. And it's an invitation for you to go, where am I not free? Because guess what? The world is showing you every single day where you're not. You're showing yourself where you're not. And you get to do
Absolutely.
something with that.
Well, it's like whether you're triggered or you're activated, you're met with two choice points there. And
Yeah.
whatever one that is, you're going to learn from that. If it's a trigger, you're going to learn where you need to close gaps, where you need to heal, what you need to move through. And if you're activated by it, listen to your body and your brain, creating that sensation. It's there for a reason. If you're activated by something, it's for a reason. If you're triggered by something, it's for a reason. But that's a choice point where you get to make the decision. You get to use that discernment, right?
What an exciting time. And just
Yeah.
even knowing that you have a voice in that, like, powerful.
Yeah.
The fact now, every time, something beautifully comes to, a meeting point for me, I go, oh, I'm excited. If this is a squeeze point, well, I'm excited. Because why? Every time when you continue to walk the way, the way will appear. When you choose to go through the obstacle, then that is the way. And it's like, then on the other side of that, because now I've built so much evidence. So again, going back to the chat earlier, and you build some evidence of what happens on the other side of you being in your feminine, when you build the evidence of what happens on the other side of choices that you made,
Yeah.
and when you build the evidence of what happens, you'll start to actually welcome them. You'll start to
Right.
actually go, oh, I'm whatever it is, and it's not bypassing. You're still going to go, this is hard, or this is interesting, this is here, this is literally my path right now. And you do something with that, there's always growth. As you said, there is always something on the other end of it. It is who you'll meet, what you'll do, what outcome will be as a result of one single thing that comes your way, rather than hiding under the covers and running the other way.
Yeah.
There's power in that, and meet it.
Yeah.
I love this conversation, Nic. It's been awesome.
I love this conversation too. We are this I will just say to the audience without giving any details, this is not the end of
Oh, yes.
the work that we
Yes.
will be doing together. So, I love you and I love this conversation and I love that you brought forward that this is the first time that we have spoken to each other, but it's like it gets to be this good, right? Like the conversations get to be this good, the work gets to be this good. You never have to wonder what to say or who to impress because you're not here to say what everybody else wants to hear. You're here to speak your truth and attract the people who desire to be on that journey with you. And that is the big work. That's why you can't just put a limitation on it. You can't just put a result on it. It's bigger than that and it gets to be better than that. So, thank you so much for joining me. I would love for you to just tell everyone where can we find you? What platforms are you on the most? Where can we find your offers, all of your juicy content? I'm sure my audience would love to learn more about, how you and your husband work together in this work. So, give us all the juicy details.
Thank you, babe. So, look, we're across all the things. However, most of all, come and find us on Instagram. You can find us on there, just at Nadine Muller. You'll also see my incredible husband's work, which is his Heart-Led Warriors on there. He's also hugely on TikTok too. So you'll see all of our incredible, very activating, very potent work that at its core can move people just by watching them. So be sure and allow your body to tell you what it feels. Allow your body to go, why am I feeling this?
Mhm.
And or why, right? What am I going to do with this very information that my body is telling me? Because your body always keeps score. So please head on over there. I am, I'm someone that, you know, invites you to beautifully call yourself forth. So if there is something that you've seen, land on in. We're open books. Would love to have a chat. We've got so many things here. Yes, we have people internationally. We're about to go on our next run of retreats, our next season of retreats. Okay, and we have people from Israel, from Canada, from internationally that travel to Australia just to be on our retreat. So please, again, wherever you're listening this from, okay, irrespective, okay, if you've ever wanted to come to Australia and you want to, you more than that, you actually want to experience beyond, okay, what you've perhaps experienced before, then of course it's just a message. We're a message away, and please would love to have you. And again, very quickly, you will realize when you come to any of our pages and anywhere that the work that we do here is potent beyond what words can even say, and it's an experience that we truly believe. There is magical people doing so much magical work. However, these bodies of work that we've created, is we're so very proud of them. We're so very proud of the work that we've created from scratch, that we're now sharing with this world, and the work that we've created not in this lifetime. I firmly believe that we were here, put on this earth, to actually do and deliver. And that I'm incredibly humbled and beyond proud, beyond even privileged, right, to do. It is actually, I can't not do it. That is what I'm here to do. And even if something tried to stop me, I cannot. Like, there is it's
Cannot.
wild.
I love
Like,
that.
and it's same with my husband. We're like, wow, like there is nothing, there is just, we just keep this purpose and this mission, and the way in which we do it is beyond even anything that even listen to me try to explain it. There is none. And I hope this is my hope for people listening. I hope that you arrive at a junction in your life that it is indescribable as to what you do. Like, I hope that when someone goes, tell me about you, you go, sister or friend or brother, sit down. Because have I got time, and have I got energy? Have I got space to share with you and take notes? And then tell me about you, because I want to know about you. I hope that when you arrive there, that and you choose, it's not even a choosing, because there's not enough words to even describe what you do. It's a really pivotal moment in your life, and you it's a really beautiful thing. And I hope that for you. I wish that for those listening, because it's a really cool place to be. So
Thank you
yes,
for
come and
that.
find us. We love you. Thank you so much for having me, Nic. I'm excited to wrap my arms around you at some point, and until now, it'll be through a screen and via a screen. And I look, it's, as Nic has said, there's some really cool things that Nic is in the beautiful creation of, and I'm excited to see that all come to fruition, which it absolutely is already
Thank you
done.
so much. Thank you so, so much. And I will drop everything in the description, all of your links. And uh, I just, I can't wait to have another conversation with you. I just love
Oh,
this so much.
I
All
know.
right. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Make sure to share. If you're activated by this, make sure to share. Make sure to share it with somebody who will also be activated by everything that we talked about today, because there were some golden nuggets in there for sure. I can't wait to put all the content together and re-listen to this. Until the next episode, with love, Nic and Nadine.